This is Tusu TV, and we come to you guys with another breaking news, this time coming from Libya. Ladies and gentlemen, a pro-government leader has been assassinated in Tripoli, and of course chaos has erupted across the country, not just in Tripoli but also around it. And of course this is extremely worrying for civilians, innocent people inside Libya. Neighboring countries to Libya must be concerned about, of course, the backlash. And of course, even if you are countries that are still closer but in Europe, that also actually includes at this point anything from Italy, Greece, France and the United Kingdom, because of course now we're going to have more backlash and more mass migration because a lot of people would want to seek refuge as the civil war seems to have once again restarted in Libya. We're going to explain exactly what's going on. This is a live ongoing development over the last few minutes. We've been getting a lot of videos. We're going to show you exactly what's going on. State of emergency has now been declared across the country. For those who don't know, Libya is not a normal country, not anymore, not since Gaddafi. And you have essentially the government affiliated groups, then you've got the anti-government affiliated groups, then within that you've got three different groups. You don't really have an official, actual, legitimate state, not anymore, not really. Everybody is killing everybody. But everything started from the moment earlier today when the Libyan leader, Abdul Ghani al-Kikli, or Ganiwa, was assassinated randomly. Now, he is a government affiliated leader. So again, this is the difference between normal countries and Libya. You can't really just say like, this is the prime minister or something like this. Government affiliated or anti-government or the third militia groups or ISIS or France. France matters because France is backing some of the militias. It's a messed up country right now. Anyway, obviously clashes have now erupted in Tripoli. The so-called government have now advised everybody to stay at home, do not leave, because nobody knows exactly where this is going to be leading. The footage, the video I'm going to show you first is showing a civilian aircraft being evacuated from the Midgar airport because they are terrified of the clashes between the rival militias right now. The Interior Ministry has now advised residents to not even get close to airports. I mean, don't even leave your house, let alone getting on any sort of civilian aircraft. It's just not safe. Let's go to the first video.
الطيارات كلهم فضوا فيهم مطار مكة وصار ربط جسكا فضوا فيهم الطيارات يلا فيهم مصراتة ومناطق والله ربط جسكا.
So these are the planes that are now being evacuated by the security, and of course now we can show you. First things first, let's talk about Abdul Ghani al-Kikli, obviously, who was assassinated. He was the head of the SSA, and SSA are basically the most powerful group and a commander in Tripoli. And obviously alongside him, his right-hand men have also been assassinated. The government is falling apart. They don't even know what to do. And all they know is they are getting attacked from multiple sides. You have so many militias, so many terrorist organizations. Now, obviously, if you are technically the government, you'll be terrified. But if you are a normal civilian, you're just living there as a Libyan, it's extremely concerning because everything we've been talking about, whether you're talking about the issue with Israel and Hamas, whether you're talking about Pakistan and India, if you are a normal person in Libya, if you're just born there, you don't know where to go. You don't know how to defend yourself because you open your door, it could be anybody across the road. And no one knows who they should target, so they just target anybody. It's absolute mayhem. Let's go to the next video.
هذه طلقة 23 تطربق في الهواء.
Of course, the Islamist militia don't really care much about even if they do friendly fire. This is the problem that you have. When you talk about territorial issues, when you talk about wars that are about, people claim it's their sovereignty. When it comes to Libya, places like Libya, places that involve Islam in the conflict, is Puritan ideology. That's the problem that you're dealing with. And nobody knows how to treat the conflict, because it's not a normal conflict. When you have Islamists, it's not a normal conflict. You can't negotiate with them. You can't reason with them. You can't just say, okay, can you have this part? No, they want you dead. And that's what's happening right now tonight as we speak in Libya. Let's go to the next video. This is the clashes taking place inside Tripoli right now, but of course around it as well. Large military units are now entering the city. A general has now called on the local residents to support the military, and of course at the same time they're literally sending out mixed messages, because they're saying stay at home, which is normal, and then they say support the military. How can people support the military if they're staying at home? Anyway, let's go to the next clip. Okay, so I just had to, there's an idiot who's spamming the live chat already. I'm going to get your reaction in the live chat, don't worry, but there's an idiot who was doing a Palestinian flag spamming. You could do whatever you want in the live chat, just don't spam, don't copy and paste, because it's just stupid. Now, let's go to the next bit, because this is actually very important. The SNA forces that were sent to Libya as mercenaries, guess who sent them? The next video we're going to show you is only 2 seconds. Do you remember, those of you who watch this channel regularly, and we've been very busy the last few days, we've been talking about, obviously, Pakistan, India, Balochistan, Pakistan, everybody Pakistan, and of course, the Islamists in the Middle East. What did I say earlier today or yesterday? Wherever there is a conflict, one country gets involved. Now, this is just for the benefit of those who are watching live, and I want to see if you can guess. Name a country that is always involved wherever there is a conflict. And no, it's not America. Obviously, America's always involved. I'm just going to give you like 5-10 seconds. Just write it now in the live chat. Then I'm going to tell you what country randomly just gets involved with every issue, every crisis. That's not just the Chinese Communist Party. Yes, Turkey. Now, the Turkish-led forces were sent as mercenaries by Erdogan, are now urgently appealing to the government that you must be able to negotiate. These are the same people who caused chaos in Syria, by the way. These are the exact same people who caused chaos, the SNA forces. They are obviously, they're not called the SNA in Libya, but they were sent from Syria, from Turkey to Syria to Libya, to be what? Diplomats? The next video is only 2 seconds and it's very graphic, just a heads up. Disgusting. Evil. Yeah, I can see people in the live chat already predicted the correct country. They always have to say something when there's an issue. Now, let's talk about what's going on in other parts, not just Tripoli. Because even outside of Tripoli, in other suburban areas and other towns, there are massive clashes after the leader Kekili was assassinated. And the government forces, again, are primarily focusing in the center of Tripoli, but they are mobilizing their troops to go around the outskirts of Tripoli. Let's go to the next. Now, I've been checking the local media on the ground, and I was getting some questions, obviously, from the local sources that we have, not in Libya, but those who are familiar with Libya in the northern parts of Africa. And a lot of people have been saying the exact same thing, that apart from the direct clashes that's happening right now, the mobilization by the Libyan military, there doesn't seem to be any urgency. It's like everyone's chilled. What is going on? A lot of people assume that is probably fear, because obviously since 2020 and when COVID happened, it didn't really things didn't calm down because of peace, but just because it was a bit of a messed up situation. And since then, everybody's on edge. Even soldiers, official soldiers of Libya. I think this is probably the reason that they seem chill, is because they're like, well, we're now being mobilized, we're going to go forward somewhere else. I don't think they're in a rush because everyone's terrified. Rightly so. This is not a normal conflict in terms of a civil war. This is completely messed up. Worse than Syria. Absolutely worse than Syria. Now, in Syria, you had like 4 or 5 official groups, technically. This is like, you got millions of random militias, and you got all the interns, the newbies, who are also getting involved. Now, we have the next video. This is basically, the University of Tripoli has now announced that classes, exams, and everything, even in terms of administrative work, in all colleges, have now been cancelled, suspended. But the exams have been cancelled. And they don't know when things could go back to normal. So this is the effects of these sort of conflicts on ordinary people. Now, the problem that we currently have is that I've also been checking to see how long it will take for the international media, who also focus on geopolitics like TCTV, how long it will take for them to report. And again, I'm only saying this right now, if you're watching this live. This has been going on for a good enough couple of hours. I've had enough time with our team to prepare this live stream, verify the sources, the news stories, prepare this and give you guys the images, the videos and everything else. So, you know, we work really fast compared to the mainstream media. We come to you guys beforehand. Absolutely nothing so far. Let's see how long it will take for them to catch up. It's disgusting. Now, Ghani, the leader who was assassinated, was actually killed during a meeting with Mahmoud Hamza, the commander of the 444th Combat Brigade and Military Intelligence Director. Now, the Libyan Ministry of Health are now urging Tripoli's hospitals and medical centers to heighten preparedness for potential emergencies. Now, this is a given anyway, but the fact that they have been focusing on just Tripoli when we are now getting reports that it's happening even outside of Tripoli, it's slightly concerning that there doesn't seem to be an urgency to, I mean, again, it's a bit of a messed up country. There's no proper organization anyway. But we don't actually know if the other senior people in that meeting, including government intelligence people, actually survived. We know that a couple of his right-hand men were also assassinated, but we don't know what happened with the others, whether it was an inside job or whether it was just complacency and the terrorists came and destroyed. Now, obviously, my thoughts go out to all the civilians who have nothing to do with this, but they have to endure this. This is just life right now. Over the last 10, 15 years, in many countries that may have had dictatorships and lack of freedom, but now that's been replaced with complete uncertainty and chaos on a regular basis. And I think one of the reasons that the mainstream media, even the global channels like, you know, CNN or BBC World News Service, are not really focusing on these things, including what I reported earlier tonight about Balochistan and their fight for independence against Pakistan. I think it's simply because they just see it as normal. They see it as regular. They see it as it's not really important. That's why they also stop reporting on, for example, Israeli hostages. Unless some big news happens like today, they don't really talk about any updates. Unless, for example, the Gaza health minister says, oh, Israel killed 2 million Gazans today. We have the next video just coming now. Again, a lot of concerns are the fact that the civil war is being restarted after the pause in 2020. Europe is now bracing for another summer of mass immigration via the Libyan routes. Now, there's a direct route, and I'm going to, obviously, after this clip, I'm going to show you the map where the route is that people come from Libya into Europe. There are a couple of routes, obviously. Let's go to the next. Now, we are also just waiting, I've just been told that there is there may be an official statement coming shortly from the, again, so-called government, but we're unsure exactly how long. It might be minutes or it might be a little bit longer. But meanwhile, in the meantime, I'm just going to show you this for those who are not familiar with what's going on in terms of the mass exodus from Libya. It's been going on, obviously. So you can see Libya at the bottom in the south, which is then obviously North Africa. Tripoli is right at the top. One obvious route is actually from the outskirts of Tripoli in the north. They go straight to Italy, Palermo, that side. They go up. There's another route to the right, which gets to Greece. But there has also been the longer route, which is going through Tunisia, on the ground, Algeria, Morocco, Gibraltar, Spain. The end destination, the close end destination is actually to the top, France. Everybody gets that way. Some stay in France because there is a huge Libyan community now in France. The rest will try their best to get to the United Kingdom. So that wave is now obviously going to be accelerating again. The problem that we have is we had the same in Syria and Libya. One thing that the media hasn't discussed is it's not just civilians who escape. It's also not just what Al-Qaeda used to say, which is, and Taliban, we're going to send our soldiers and pretend to be asylum seekers and refugees. We're going to send them to Europe. We're going to send them to destroy your countries. They said that. But there's also, both Syria and Libya had another group that follows the others. These are the people who are essentially almost like stalkers. They are stalkers. They come, they follow people to France, to the UK, and then they start attacking them on our soil. There's been a lot of stabbings, a lot of shootings in Brussels, in Paris, mostly by, for example, this Libyan against this Libyan, or this Syrian against this Syrian, because the civil war is now being dragged to the European streets. And that's another concern, which is not being really addressed. Meanwhile, we just received a breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, from Yemen, actually. The Houthi media in Yemen are now claiming that the Houthis have just shot down an American drone. This is specifically a US MQ-9 Reaper drone over the Sadr governorate in Yemen. Okay, well, we are getting the confirmation. I believe we have a video which we're going to verify quickly. Again, firstly, verify as in, is this actually what the Houthi media are claiming? We can't fully verify yet whether what they claim, which is they've shot down an American drone, is true or not. The Americans have to confirm that, which, by the way, if it is true, is hell for the Houthis. President Trump announced the Houthis have surrendered. President Trump announced that the Houthis are not going to be attacking the Americans anymore. Why are the Houthi media claiming that they've shot down a US drone? Even if they haven't, the fact that they are claiming, that's an act of war. Just stay with us over the next minute or two. We're just getting that confirmed. Let's see what the Houthis are doing. But let's quickly go back to Libya. We have another quick clip that's just received. This is in the capital of Libya, Tripoli. Clashes again continues between the different militias or the Islamist groups that are causing mayhem. And then we're going to come and confirm what's going on in Yemen. Right, I think we have it. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately for the Houthis in Yemen, there is a video that's now been released. This is the Houthis showing the video of them shooting down a US drone. Now, they seem to be doubling down, saying, yes, we have actually shut this down. So let's quickly go and see this clip. I don't know if it's going to be a clear video or not, but the Houthis seem to be asking for trouble.
يا رباه يا رباه احرق كيف العاش
الرداء الثاني وش هو؟
يحرق العدو يحرق
نادر وهو الساقط مثله.
Well, that wasn't clear. We will wait for an official statement from the United States of America to see whether the Houthis are lying or not. The thing is, as I said, even if they're lying, that's actually a whole different problem. What is going on with the screen? Why is everything falling apart? Hang on, guys. Alright, I'm still here. Everything's fine. Oh, yes, everything's falling apart. Hang on. We'll be with you in a second. This is what happens when... Alright, this... We're going to have to change the camera because... the tech is falling apart as usual. That's nice, isn't it? All right, let's get back to the backup option. This is terrible. Let me just see if we can sort out the camera. This is so embarrassing, guys. All right, let's fix this as well. Let's get some reaction while we're here from you guys. The system has been working hard, so it's now failing. All right. Let's get some super chats first. Sad to say, but Islam equals death equals National Socialism. So Qatar with a K. Main supporters of terror and National Socialism is Qatar. Mosh Cohen says, yep, looks like a regular Monday in the Middle East. Although if you called Libya the Middle East, I think so many people will be angry for so many reasons. They don't really want to be called Middle East. Libya is becoming a country of Islamic religions of peace. Well, in the case of Libya, it's the Islamic religion of pieces. That's the problem. Someone said Iran is spying on you, but yeah, for the record, everything is technically fine. Not really sure why this just malfunctioned. It's not like a battery issue or anything like this. Molly says, is your system going on strike for better conditions and wages? Essentially, unless I was hacked or something. I don't know if there's a cyber attack on us. Erdogan is behind this, I'm sure. Hang on, wait. Are we talking about Libya or my system falling apart? Because actually Erdogan could be behind this too. Knowing that dude. Someone says, wake up. Sure. Where's the rest of the sentence? Okay, we don't know. Now, Sam says, I thought Islam was peaceful. If it is, why are so many wars starting in the Middle East? Oh, another one said Middle East instead of North Africa. It's going to be crazy. Yes, Zoe says, watch Morocco too. The thing is, there's going to be that the backlash from what's happening right now in Libya is going to be seen in Tunisia, in Morocco, because of the route, obviously. So, and certain militia groups will have to escape, even temporarily, and these are the countries next door. So, Mika says Libya has Middle East mentality. Well, that's the thing. So, if you consider the Middle East as Islam, then that's a surrender, because the Middle East was never supposed to be Islam, apart from the Arabia. The rest of the Middle East was supposed to be the Persian Empire, and of course the Indo-Persians, the Zoroastrians and the Aryans and Pashtuns and all the others, you know, before everyone went crazy. Yeah, I mean the expansion of Islam, the Islamic mentality is now going to be called the Middle Eastern mentality. Yeah, it wasn't supposed to. There's another super chat here saying, it seems like a lot like throwing stones in a glass house. Don't attack people, then cry when they retaliate. But that's the thing. Actually, the whole of Libya could be described as a glass house, because when you have one militia group, the Islamist group, causing chaos, you've got 4 others joining, and everybody will be killing each other, and then they will end up killing their own people because nobody knows. Do you remember when Daesh or ISIS were taking over Syria and Iraq, parts of Syria and Iraq? They were literally driving on roads, random roads, and shooting people. They weren't even checking if that person just standing there, the Syrian or Iraqi, they might be a supporter. Like, would you like to join Daesh? Just ask. Do you want to be a member? They might already be your supporter, but they were like, no, we don't care. Just shoot. It's about sending a message. They don't care. They don't actually even care about strategy. There's no strategy. David says, does anyone see where this is going? Let Islam take over, then save the world from Islam. If you do as we say, that's how it's going to go. Well, Islam is not going to take over. It will never take over, because Islam is not organized. And they are very, very divided. It will do full destruction, but it will not be able to take over. That is the reality. Now, I visited Turkey twice this year. Why would you do that? It's a calm country, but full of scammers. I don't trust them. They have a thought that the UK are much better off than them and scam. Yeah, so I do know some very nice and lovely Turkish people who actually hate Erdogan, which is good. But yes, when you go to major cities in Turkey, but it's not really just Turkey, Paris is the same. If you go to Paris, oh, scammers, left, right, and center. Now we have bigger problems, like for example in London, you might get stabbed, but that's just casual. But you're not going to get scammed, not really. But yes, in Istanbul, Ankara, most places really, there's a lot of scammers. It's very casual, regular. Jim says, I love the passion you put into your videos, Maya. You are a legend. I enjoy watching your videos from Australia. Go Israel, we stand with you all the way. Thank you very much, Jim. What time is it there? Actually, I just realized it's half midnight in the UK. Blue Sapphire says, do you honestly expect the international media to report anything? This is probably more than 24 hours. At best, they'll mention it in a week, or when things get undoubtedly worse. Yeah, when things get like the boiling point, that's when the media comes in. But they don't actually give you guys the actual facts now to prepare you. The subject is awful, but the channel is awesome. Wow. Oh, thank you so much. I mean, it's not now because the camera is falling apart. I don't know what's going on here. Hopefully I can get it fixed before another civil war erupts. It would be nice if I could get some sleep, by the way. Sally says, it's the first I've heard about this on your program here. I'm glad we are being a good source of news for you guys. Don't say Middle East, say Muslim countries. Exactly. It's not necessarily a Middle Eastern mentality. Again, as I said, unless you mean basically the Middle East has now been completely surrendered to the Islamic side. Let's not forget, one of the major countries in the middle of the Middle East, big and population-wise, is Iran. And less than 30% of the country are Islamic. So, and they don't have that mentality like the rest of the some of the Arab world. What's Bumban's opinion on all this? Well, Bumban died, unfortunately, a few months ago, so I don't think he has any more opinion. Bumban was the house bunny, also 2CTV's senior political editor. I gave him a job. Why not? All bunnies need to work. They can't be on benefits. It's not a good idea. David says, love your channel. Thank you so much. And again, apologies for the technical difficulties with the camera situation. Can't be helped. Someone else says, how's your rabbit, by the way? Yeah, a little bit dead, unfortunately. Bro, you are the only source for breaking Middle Eastern news. Everyone's obsessed with calling Libya Middle East. They are so going to be angry. It's North Africa. Stop self-identifying as the Middle East. But thank you very much. I appreciate that, Josh. Marcella says, keep showing the real news, 2CTV. Fake news, CNN, and others will continue to hide the truth. One of the reasons they're not going to show you what's happening in Libya is because they don't want to cause chaos about all the concerns that people will have. And by the way, I'm not just going to speak on behalf of Europeans or the Americans. I'm also going to be speaking on behalf of people, even in Morocco, even in Tunisia, even in Algeria, next door, that are going to be receiving the backlash. Because of this civil conflict, it's going to be mayhem. in all these countries, and some will get to Europe, get to Spain, get to France, get to the UK. But it's not really just about the Europeans. As I said, even the North Africans, you have to be worried about them. And all the civilians in Libya who have nothing to do with this infighting. It's an infighting. It's an Islamic infighting. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go fix this massive crisis with the camera problem. Thank you so much. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.